Coach, can you tell us what it means to be playing one more game, playing another bowl game?
It's really important that you. I think there's 38 bowl games. It's really important you're one of them. It's the minimum standard that you have for your team. You get to practice like a spring practice extra, which is really important for next year's team. Now anybody on your team who has played in 4 games but couldn't play in a 5th because they would redshirt gets to play in the bowl game, so it's a new opportunity for them. You get to bring in your early enrollees out of high school. So we've had like 15 guys practicing that'll get 10 practices before they go to spring practice. You get to bring in your graduate transfers and watch them. And your guys get to play one last time together. So it's really, really important to play. And then Duke's Mayo Bowl has done a great job for these guys and families. They've had a wonderful week. Danny Morrison, the Sports Foundation, Charlotte Sports Foundation, really puts on a show for these guys. So just sitting down there talking about their shopping spree and going to the racetrack and all the things they've done. And these are wonderful experiences for these guys. We had a great Christmas dinner last night. Had a lot of fun and had games, and they were laughing and cutting up. And I was just sitting there watching them and thinking how blessed we are, because a lot of teams would like to be sitting here.
And you said Duke's Mayo. Well, what's the thought of maybe having to take a Duke Mayo bath?
2 years ago, I really wanted to, and we got beat. We didn't play very well. So I think the fact that people like Duke's Mayo sponsor bowl games to give these families and kids so much extra is really special, and you have to thank them. And they want to do that, and that's kind of fun afterwards. So I'd love to have mayonnaise in my hair. That'd be just a tribute to winning. So I'm not worried about that at all. I can wash my hair. I can wash my hair a lot better, and I can clean up the mess after a loss. So I can do that.
What's the sense of the readiness of your team?
I think they're ready to play. We've called it the New Opportunity Bowl. It's and we've told our guys we need to maximize those opportunities. You don't know. It's hard to get an opportunity to play. Some of these guys have been wanting to play, and we've got 12 starters, I think, from the first of the year that won't be in the game tomorrow night. So it's be a lot of new guys that Chris Cullum would be returning a kickoff for the first time in his career. A lot of the receivers are really young. We've got Connor Harrell gets a chance to play for the first time, really. First time he'll ever start. So there's a lot of change on offense. There's less change on defense. But the offense is going to be a whole new look. So but they've practiced hard. They've had fun. We've played really good teams in bowl games, and West Virginia is a really good team, and they're the leading rushing team in the country. We haven't done a great job stopping the run. Our defense has been up and down. They keep the ball about 34 minutes a game, so it's going to be hard to get the ball. And then we've got to make sure we figure out what's best for Connor when we get it.
How much is that new opportunity also an opportunity to finish with a win? You guys haven't finished with a win for a while, especially the way the last 2 regular seasons have closed.
Yeah, we've started so well, and we got to figure out why we didn't finish well. Part of it's schedule. You know, nobody looks at who you played. Clemson, NC State, and Duke were all really good teams, and we played 3 emotional games in a row. Last year it was NC State, Clemson, and Oregon. That's a pretty good finish. So people don't look at that. If we were playing easy teams at the end, we'd be winning more probably. But what we've got to do is figure out why we've had such great starts and why we're not finishing like we need to. So that's just part of the next question to get from good to where we want to go.
Mack, how much does your offense change with Connor in there, and what can you tell us about Connor?
Connor is he's a wonderful young man. He was valedictorian of Thompson High School. He is 25-2 as a starter at Thompson High School. He was a most valuable player in the state of Alabama. He won, I think, 3 state championships. So he's a wonderful young person. He's totally different from Drake. Not as tall, faster, but Drake's one of the best throwers in the country. So what we've been doing here for the last 2 weeks is trying to figure out this is Connor's offense right now. What do we do? What do we do different? What can we change? We're down our starting center, so we had to move a guard to center. How much can you change your offensive line, your offensive schemes, and still do what you want to do? But I've been pleased. Connor's looked good in practice, so I'm excited about watching him play. And that's one of the fun things, I think, for this team is there'll be so many new guys we'll watch him play that it'll be exciting for them.
Speaking of, what has stood out to you about the practices for this ball?
All of our practices have been good, I thought, except for 2 years ago. When we were down here before, we didn't play good against South Carolina. We didn't practice good, and I thought we finished with a very difficult game at NC State, and then came down here and we lost an overtime game to Pittsburgh. So I didn't think the guys were excited about being here, and that's the only bowl game we've been in where I didn't think that we prepared very well. This one's been fun. The practices have been high-spirited. They've worked really hard, and I think they'll be ready to play.
Speaking of a local product, Drake May, what has he meant for your program?
Drake's unbelievable. He's National Player of the Year, so he'll have his name in the stadium. And he's such a great young man. He didn't want his name in the stadium while he was playing. He said it'd be weird looking up at your name. So, but he'll go down as one of the best to ever play college football, much less at Carolina. Really, really proud of all he accomplished.
How is Connor handling all this? I know when we talked to him after the first practice, he said it was kind of weird to wake up that morning and be QB1. He's been QB1 for a couple of weeks now, so how has he kind of morphed into that?
I think he's handled it really well. You'll get to talk to him in a minute. You can ask him. He seems like it's his deal, and he's running it. He's gotten more snaps in 2 weeks than he's gotten in 2 years. He'll probably sleep differently tonight than he would have if Drake was playing. So it'll be a little more uncomfortable, a little more exciting, a little more anxiety. But it'll be interesting to watch him play, but it'll be fun to watch him play.
I know you'd like to have your full complement, but given the circumstances, is it kind of cool to see him sort of grow into that role and just be a different guy the last couple of weeks, and not just himself, but the way his teammates are looking at him?
Yeah, I think him and a lot of the other guys. A lot of those receivers are going to be new for the first time. British as well at running back, so hopefully he'll be a bigger factor than he's been the last few weeks. But tight ends, we've got 3 tight ends that are out. So we're working with walk-on tight ends. So the coaches they'll get tested. But I really feel like it's good. The people that have been out to watch Connor practice have said, Connor's pretty good. So it'll be really fun to watch him for all of us. And we absolutely don't know what's going to happen tomorrow with this team. I mean, usually you get some idea. This one, we have absolutely no idea. And it's fun. I wrote down a couple of things here. The NCAA made a really good rule to let anybody play in this game and not count against the redshirt year. So some guys will be able to play that wouldn't have played for the rest of the year. So that's fun for them and makes it more exciting for bowls. And with the people that are opting out of bowls, we needed that. We need it for the numbers and the transfer portal people. And then you've got your high school graduates and you've got your grad transfers. Some of them are here practicing. So you've got a great look at them. We've kept all of the new guys after practice 15 minutes to work with them along with doing all the individual drills. So we'll have a lot better idea going into spring practice about those guys because we're going to have 25 plus new guys in January, which is all different in what the bowl's really about. And then we'll still are looking for an offensive lineman, a defensive lineman, and a running back in the portal. So that's not finished. We're still looking at those areas. We've had Max Johnson here. Jake Johnson is not here yet. He'll be here in January. Jakeem Harris signed with us yesterday. He'll be here today, and he'll be in school in January. And Austin Blasky from Georgia, the offensive lineman's been practicing with us. So it's been fun to watch those guys along with the freshmen.
Hey, Mack, can you talk a little bit about, you may not want to talk about the situation specifically, but the Florida State and the ACC, what's going on? You've been around the game a long time. How concerned are you about the conferences holding together?
But you know, that's really way beyond my thinking. I'm trying to get our football team to finish better and win a bowl game. When you start looking at, I was very involved with the conference realignment at Texas when they were looking at Texas going to the Pac-12 and then Texas maybe coming to the ACC or going to the SEC. And I remember all of that, and then it ended up nothing changed. So I've learned to stay away from it, stay away from the hype, and let the lawyers and the administrators figure all that out. I think that you look at our game right now, money is a huge part of this game, whether it's NIL, it's changed everything that we're doing, whether it's conference realignment, it's the amount of money per team that you're going to get, and it really affects not only football. Football's driving realignment, but it affects every other sport. So we've got a lot of concerns in our business right now, and we've got to figure out what's best for the Olympic sports. What's best for basketball? Do you separate them from football? What happens with football? And football's the moneymaker. So where do you go? How many leagues do you have? We're working more toward the NFL, but we don't have guidelines. So we got to have some really smart people sit down in a hurry and start figuring out transfer portal, NIL, realignment, and make sure that it takes care of our fans, and make sure it takes care of our parents, and make sure it takes care of our players. Because those are the people that are being affected.
And for you, you just mentioned you got to worry about the football team. So how much, if at all, do you think about those factors you just listed?
I don't think about any, because if I've got an idea, I'll give it to our administration. But I'm just saying, why wouldn't we do this, or why wouldn't we look at this, or would this work? And everybody's looking at, do we bring NIL because it's out of control with transfer portal and tampering? Do we bring it back into the universities? And do you have a salary cap? I just think we're headed toward the NFL model fast. And I told the players that. And I said, if you are getting paid, you are more like an NFL player instead of an amateur. Expect fans to be mad at you. And at some point, it'll be transparent how much you're making. And then there won't be all this he said, she said. It'll be exactly, I know exactly what he's making. I saw it, it's listed. And I've said, if you're in this business for money, and if money is your main goal and priority, you probably won't make it. Money grabbing doesn't make the best players in the world. It's the dedication, the hard work. So make sure that the main thing's the main thing.
Mack, you were joking a little bit earlier when you said, like, might not know what to expect when you play the game. And I hear you on that. What do you expect to see? What kind of product do you expect to see out there on the field Wednesday?
I don't have any idea. I really don't. I wasn't joking. I mean, you see practice, and you hope practice is what you see in the game, and they've practiced well. But West Virginia's a really good team, and they're leading the nation in rushing, and 230-something yards a game, and keeping the ball 34 minutes. We may never see it. And then you don't want to get behind because you got a new young quarterback. So I will 100% say that they've acted right. They've been on time to everything. They've been focused with everything, and they've practiced really well. So they're going to play hard. I don't know how well they'll play. You've talked about it a lot over the last couple of years about the disappointment you had with the way you played in the 2021 Mayo Bowl. Is that part of your message to this team, that you didn't like the way that one went down? Yeah, it's been part of the message for the last 2 years. We played well in the first two bowl games, and then we didn't. And I've told them I don't want to go to a bowl unless we're going to play. Don't go. It's a waste of people's money. It's a waste of their time. And we didn't have fun 2 years ago. We didn't have a good game. I didn't think the guys played hard. We didn't coach well. That's not who we are. And that's the only time really we just absolutely laid an egg, I thought. And last year they played as hard as they could against Oregon, came down to 19 seconds and had a chance to win and didn't. And Oregon's obviously one of the best teams in the country, and this year we've got a great opponent again. And I want us to always play a great opponent in the bowl game. It's easier. We beat Temple the first year. They weren't as good. We weren't as good. But I want to play a team that's as good or better than we are, because it really challenges our program to get better.
You've had Max Johnson here with you for a couple of days. What was the appeal in bringing him in? And did Clyde have a role in that? Because I know Clyde coached his dad, I believe, in the NFL. And what have you seen from him for a couple of days?
Yeah, first, he's 6'6", 230, so he's a big presence. He's very confident. He's thrown over 900 passes in the SEC. He started at two different prominent schools, so he's been in big games. He's been hit. He's very confident. So it's been fun to watch him, and he and Connor will be competing in the spring. So it was good that all that gray's out of the way. They've seen each other, they've met each other, they've practiced together. And absolutely, Clyde was a factor. He is, Mark Richt is their uncle, and Mark's sister is their mother. and I've known Mark, and Mark knows a lot about our program. I've known Mark for years. And Jim Donnan, who actually coached me in college at Florida State, is really good friends with the family. And then Clyde coaching him at Tampa Bay, Brad, there were a lot of ties that all led to them coming here. We wanted to get Jake in for practice too, but being an undergraduate, it's harder to get it to move as fast for the transition than it is a graduate.
Is one of the things that appeals about him, is there sort of a professional element to him as a player and as a guy that can maybe manage the situation?
Yeah, he's older, experienced, and Connor's coming. He'll get some of that, so that's going to be fun. This game will really help us with Connor moving forward to see where his level is and his level of confidence. And yeah, I think we'll have two of those guys coming into spring, and then like Michael Merdinger's here, you'll have him in the spring. You got Tad Hudson in the spring, so you'll have a number of guys that can compete for that job.
Jim Donnan coached you?
Yeah, how about that?
I did a radio show with him.
He coached me at Florida State.
I did a radio show with him a long time ago.
No,
New Year's Day at 6 a.m.
Burlington guy.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, I talk to him about once a week.
Really?
Yeah.
Mack, you played so much in this stadium. Does it feel like a home away from home at this point?
You know, it does. I think this is the 5th time in 5 years. And to start the season with a win here and try to close it with a win is really, really special.
You said when we talked to you last, I guess it was the Monday before the state game, that you were going to have an opportunity during the recruiting process to spend some time with different coaches and have conversations with them. Have you had the conversations that you need to have with all the assistants, or are you still maybe going to readdress a few things after the game?
I have not. I had some, but December has become an absolute nightmare for coaches. I didn't even get to see Bubba. He's gone. I'm gone. You're usually around other people, and you can't have a private conversation when you've got 3 people in the car going to see a prospect. So I've gotten probably 75% of my conversations done, but I'll do the rest of them over the next 2 or 3 weeks.
You bring up December. I would imagine a lot of coaches would like to see some timelines change, because December is a bear. It's a bear for you guys, it's a bear for people who cover you guys. I would imagine, especially if you have an earlier bowl game. There were some bowls last week. I don't know how you could prepare for a bowl game, do the portal, and do signing day.
Well, signing day, I was trying to watch the practice video. I was running to a staff meeting, running to a team meeting while we were trying to announce and sign players. This is the first time in my career I haven't been able to talk to every player after they signed that morning, because we're all over the place. We're having a team meeting. We're having special teams meetings. They'd say, he signed, he's in, we got him. It's just the craziness. I would love for us to look at. We have to sign for the early enrollees, but I'd love to move the signing day back to February if guys aren't coming in early, because you just don't have enough time with the portal going in, coming out, with recruiting of graduate transfers, and the 24s and 25s, and the fact you're practicing for a bowl game or playoffs or whatever. It's just craziness.
What about a signing day before the high school football season starts? They can get it out of the way like the basketball players can get it out of the way.
You can do that. The question would be, you'd have to have the ability to get out if a coach changed.
Yeah.
But now with the transfer portal and them allowing you to transfer as many times as you want, anytime you want, which looks like where we're headed, now really nothing's binding because they can leave pretty quickly. The way the rule states, I understand, is that if you sign a national letter of intent, then you can't leave for a year. That binds you for a year. But any other person that's just signing, they can leave anytime they want. So you could sign and graduate transfers or portal transfers, they're not bound by the scholarship. So they could sign 5 scholarships and then pick where they want in January. And the way I understand, then transfer again in June now if they want to.
Mack, that would be an easy tweak if it was moved into, let's say, late July. It would be an easy thing to fix, right?
Yeah, and all of them know where they're going. Most of them know where they're going by then anyway, because of the official visits in March and April.
You had your class pretty much done by mid-July.
Yeah. So I would like to see that.
Mack, from a big picture sense, since it's just us, it seems like there could be some changes this offseason. How do you want to, with respect to what you're saying about December being wild, how do you want to approach whatever changes might need to take place, and just how do you see that playing out to get you guys better? Obviously,
you're talking about our team. You're talking about
your staff.
Your staff. Do the same thing I do every year. I look at what we did well. Why did we play great defense for 6 weeks, and then we were inconsistent the last 6. We weren't as bad as everybody thinks, but we were that bad at times. We were horrible in the fourth quarter at Georgia Tech. Why? Lost us a game. You scored 42 points, you ought to win. We were horrible in the fourth quarter at Duke. Nearly lost us a game, but we won enough to hang in there. And we didn't play great on offense at times at Duke because we could have been ahead further. And then NC State, we just didn't play as a team. So do you sit and look at a third year with the same staff is going to get a whole lot better? Or do you look at, we need to change? Because right now in college sports, pro sports, everybody wants blood firings. That gets rid of everything. Let's fire them. We don't know who we're bringing in. We don't even care. But if we can get rid of what we got, and in the old days, you used to get that better. And you used to think you built on it. Your third year would be better than your second year. And now people just they want blood. Makes them feel better. And I got to make a decision on what's best for our program.
Specifically on defense, that's been the main focus that a lot of people out there have, the loudest ones, obviously.
Yeah, well, me too. We've been good enough on offense for 5 years. We've been inconsistent on defense.
But there have been some elements of the defense that improved a lot from the previous year. The sacks, the TFLs, some of the other things actually improved and showed progress. Do you look at a situation like that and say, okay, that's actually a pretty considerable step forward. Now the other stuff can come with it.
Yeah, and that's the decision you have to make. And that's why I'll sit down with the coaches, and I want to have them. I talk to them all the time, but why aren't we better in the fourth quarters? Why did we? Tell me. I sit and I've got my opinions of why we didn't do this, but why didn't we? And we'd be a 12-win team, 10-win team if we'd play better on defense. So that's what we got to get fixed.
Is conditioning a part of that, or is it maybe scheme, like maybe constantly adjusting scheme?
That's what I mean. If I knew, I'd have a better job.
This is a good
I
job.
can answer all those questions.
We wouldn't have to ask.
I'm trying to answer them, and I've got opinions. I want to hear their opinions. I want to hear their opinions separately. I want to hear their opinions together because it's really important that we get it fixed for everybody. And I don't need to sit around and listen to everybody that's mad that doesn't have they don't have any information. I've got to look at the information, then I've got to make the decisions that are best. And I talk to our biggest boosters. I've always done that. I take about the top 6 to 10 boosters and I get their opinions because I respect what they've done and I listen, and then I make the decisions that I think are best.
Mack, does that have to happen just in a timeline sense in terms of the hard conversations and possible changes? Does it have to happen once you get the portal class signed? Because you need those guys to help you recruit the portal dudes. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you also don't want to lie to somebody and act like something's one way when it's not. I mean, I've tried to be very honest with everybody and say that we're looking hardcore at what's wrong with our defense, trying to fix it. And my job is not to go to the whim of everybody gets mad, gets drunk, bet on the game on Saturday night, but also look at what's best for our football program. And that's what I've got to do. And I see everything every day, so I'm the one that has to make the decision. And like I said, I'll get some input from staff members. I'll get some input from some of the offensive guys. What do you see every day? What do you see that you liked, you didn't like? Did we not substitute enough after midseason? It makes no sense that we're that good and then we weren't. And it makes no sense that 2 quarters at Georgia Tech we were great and 2 quarters we weren't. I mean, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
So I got it's my job. I've been doing this a long time. I got to put some sense into it. And then I can't be sensitive about who likes it or who doesn't like it. A lot of people didn't like hiring Chip Lindsey. We had the best offense in the league. Those people aren't around anymore. They all like old Chip. He's doing great. So I can't go with the whim of what somebody likes or somebody doesn't like. I don't need to be popular. I need to make good decisions.
Does the
Question for you.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
have a few players entering in
Thanks,
the
Coach.
draft.